It is. It's incredibly tricky. One of the things that I was thinking about when I was reading that, I joked about it before, but it stopped me when I read that. I know that I've seen it before, but not for a while, and it's very powerful. This is a response that Swamiji had to, who would you say is a true renunciate? And it's almost like you have to be free, because, and you're asking that question, which of course I know you know, that's so subtle. It's in that list. People who never have any judgment. People, I mean, in about 5 different ways he says you would be a true renunciate if you were perfectly clear about that, in essence. But for those of us who are not perfectly clear all the time, and because it's difficult, this is a really interesting thing. I remember years ago, many years ago, I was meeting with a very dear friend who was also a leader by title, is what I mean. There are many leaders in our community, but also a colony leader type person. And we had gone out and we had a meal that lasted about 3 hours, and we were talking about, gee, this person's having this problem, or this one is a problem, or, really speaking that way as leaders and wondering, what will we do about it? Because if we're honest, it comes up. We're trying to lead a whole colony, and then we all come in, everybody comes in with our personalities. We have these personalities, and we have to say what is the best way of handling this so that the whole colony is not disrupted over somebody's anger issue or really pushing for things to be other than how they are, or just somebody who's always complaining, whatever it is. I mean, we all know there are people like that. They just have to see what's wrong, and it's complicated. It's very complicated. You want to support each person. Anyway, we were together for 3 or 4 hours, and we were like, each person, we hadn't seen each other for a while. We were trying to get through this together. And finally I said, God, I just feel like here we are for these hours with all of this gossip, judgment. That's what it was feeling like. And she said to me, that's not what this is. And it really helped me. I mean, she said, this is we're observing them. We're not judging it. We're not being critical in that way, personally critical, but we're being critical in terms of critical thinking, like how to get through a situation one by one by one. I think for me, because it was hours and it was adding up, it was hard, each person, but you have a huge, big colony and 800 or so people, and that can happen pretty easily. And either one of us would have spent time in fact, with any of those people in a very supportive and compassionate way, but there were still issues that were being created. So I feel that, and I feel this now as a colony leader, as a spiritual director, manager, in this position, being asked to be by these teachers in a position of guiding a work in a certain way. It's not that I feel like that's better than any other job, but it is a job. Or it can be personal. It can be with your own children or your partners, or, I mean, anything. But if we can have ourselves observe the truth, which is what she was saying to me. This is 20 years ago that conversation happened, but it was important. No, we need to take an honest look and see what's going on. Nobody asked us to get stupid or to get blind in all of life, whatever we do. We have to be able to be honestly observing. But if we can stop that shy of the judgment coming in, and I feel, I don't know how everybody else feels, I sort of know instantly when that's happening. I don't always honor it, because sometimes I feel entitled. I mean, I'm saying this out loud, but it doesn't feel exactly. I'm not saying I'm entitled to be angry. I'm saying in my deepest vrittis, right in my inner spine, there's still a part of me that wants to be able to be a little judgmental at times, or something that's not the best for my spiritual well-being, and that it is not being part of the solution, which is so important on our path. That statement that Swamiji kept making to us, that, you know, when he talks about being solution-oriented, that might even be on that list. I can't remember. It's coming up a lot recently for me in talks in different ways. It's so important. If we're not part of the solution, we're not far from being part of the problem. And I know that's not a great answer because it's so subtle what you're asking about. I don't think we're ever asked to give up being a discerning being. And I think it's fair to look, and I know certain people resist this. I watch it, like I'll say to a coworker or somebody, you know, this person's having a problem and I'm concerned about it. I'll notice something about somebody. And I can feel certain people tense up. They don't want to even notice what's happening that's difficult. I don't think it's good leadership to ignore those things. But I don't think it's good leadership to judge it or to have a negative, or it's leadership I'm talking about, but as a human being. Am I making myself clear? Is this clear, Pete? Is it at all addressing what you were asking? Okay, because I mean, you can ask the next question. I can feel like I'm AI, just keep asking. I mean, we're all being taught to do that now, but no, I mean it to get more clear about exactly where you want to go, but that's what first comes to my mind. That is, and it would be for you because you are who you are. It just starts getting more and more subtle, those delineations. But if we pay attention, as soon as the judgment comes, we know it, we're away from discernment. And it's not good for us.
I just wanted to add that I have on my wall a quote from Swami that I try to look at every day. And he said, negative criticism always seeks to destroy.
Yeah.
And that helps me in that question of what is discerning, what is critical thinking or awareness of this issue or this problem or this behavior, and if it's a feeling of wanting to destroy that behavior or to in some way negate it, then that falls under negative criticism.
Yeah.
If it's solution consciousness, then it's about how do I support, how do I help them move in a positive direction, how do I deal with this in a positive way, then it's upward.
Or, thank you, Lorna, or I also feel sometimes we just have to remove ourselves from a situation. That just happens. There really is a problem, and we have no effective way of helping it. That's also a very important observation. But that's a very good saying, I mean, to keep around. These are really challenging issues, you know, that we bring up because, you know, I often tell people, ask me, how can I seek spiritual counsel from somebody when I know that they too have their own ego, their own egoic baggage that they're carrying. But we all do. We all do. And I remember Swamiji once said, none of you are free. But if you find somebody, he said, who's been on the path even several more years than you, and you feel at all inclined, listen to them, just because they've been around. But the thing that I've added for people who ask me that, which I think is, it's like relative to this, is who are those people that you feel you can trust, that are consciously, when they're with you, trying to get their ego out of the way so that they're not answering your problem about themselves, but rather genuinely with you and trying to help you see what's next best for you. Not because they might not get tripped up over that, because we can't find those people. There are shockingly few people on all of, if you look all over the Ananda world, there are thousands of great souls and hundreds of leaders who are remarkable, but they're not free. We're not free until we're free. I mean, Master says that exactly. So as long as we're not, something can grab us. But does that person take the time, find the energy, which I do think is relevant to your original question, to say, let me put my ego aside and see what can come to me? Because that also is the only way intuitive answers can come, which is, what is discernment? Really, we're trying to be intuitive. We're not trying to discern with our egos. Not us. That's not how we would define it. So to get outside of our egos, and we just try and do the best we can when we're with friends, or, I mean, it's true for any of us. If we're trying to help a friend or anybody, put yourself aside. What is happening for them, really for them? Where are they? I mean, we all laughed, but it's even why I asked before, Vaj, what is the question? What is your question? Let me make sure I'm answering your question and not one of the other 15 questions that could have come out of that. And it was funny, but not like serious about that.